Welcome to Paw Print Academy, your blueprint to raising better dogs. My name is Ryan, and I'll be your host for this journey. I've got my trusty co-host here, Brianna.
Hello.
And together we're bringing you real-world training insights built on leadership, structure, and proven methods. We record this podcast with live clients on the line in one take with live, unscripted questions and answers. At the end of the day, this podcast is a lot more than just teaching your dog to sit or stay. It's about building trust, creating calmness, and becoming the kind of leader your dog truly needs. We do that with our 3-pillar method of trust, obey, and perform. Together, we'll show you how these 3 pillars shape every step of training. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Hey there, good evening. Episode 18 coming at you. It is heel work, and we're talking about static versus dynamic and why both matter tonight. So, welcome.
Hello.
So we are going to open tonight's podcast by reminding everybody, thank you for joining us, of course, and for our clients that are dialed in and listening. Just as a reminder, the folks that are on the Zoom call, you can submit chat questions at any time. I've got the little chat window open. So as you throw those questions up, we'll answer them as we go. Everyone else who's just dialed in, like on the phone and such, will provide an opportunity to ask questions at the end before we finish, and then we'll take it from there. Let's see what else. So things have been crazy busy. A couple of announcements. Our in-home integration / board and train programs are like super backed up. So I think we're booking into like May right now. But if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I need to know more about this, or I need help with my dog, we've got a whole bunch of other options that we can do, and I'd love to hear from you. Yeah. So tonight we are talking about heel and why it's important.
Yeah.
Why is it important?
Because your dog needs to know where to be.
Right.
Gives them a job.
Right. Gives it a job. That is a constant process in teaching owners what to do with their dog, right? Your dog, usually when we're dealing with behavioral dogs, we have a misunderstanding of or the dog has a misunderstanding of, 1, what's expected, and 2, what their job is. And so that's where heel gives them an opportunity, because in the I would say the number one thing that people reach out to me about is leash reactivity, or like leash walking issues, because a lot of people will can put up with dogs being crazy around the house or maybe they don't even know how like calm their house could be without that craziness. But where they see it and where it really becomes a pain point is when they're out in public and they want to like go somewhere, they want to take their dog somewhere, or when they're out on a walk.
Yeah.
And then dog sees another dog, and dog doesn't like dog, and dog suddenly gets very upset and showing, usually it boils over into kind of aggressive tendencies that at least look aggressive to people that don't know any better.
Yeah.
And so we have talked a lot about how to recognize some of those things in previous podcasts, as well as what it could be. Maybe it's not aggression. Maybe it's, some other type of behavior. But if you have an aggressive dog, or you have a dog that you are wondering, hey, is this true aggression? Like what am I in here for? We do free evaluations, and we can do those evaluations online too. It's always better to be in person for sure. But if you live super far away, happy to talk to you and help you out where we can.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Core idea for tonight. Heel work is the foundation of a focused walk, right? Focused walking, engagement, and it actually allows you to start to build some precision into a relatively simple concept. Walk with me.
Yep.
But when we turn that into a job for the dog to do, you see a lot of other things fall by the wayside because you're occupying their plate, right? Their brain.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dog has something to do, there's no faster way to get the dog to check out of what you don't want them to do than to give them what you do want them to do.
Yep.
And I think that's super lost on people. But we say it all the time is you will always be more successful telling your dog what to do rather than what not to do.
Yep.
And on the walk is no different. So giving the dog a position to be in, teaching them what that position is, and then expecting them to hold that position through different distractions at different distances. That's all part of proofing that we've talked about over and over and over. But that's the whole concept here,
Yeah.
right? We give the dog a job even in the walk.
Yep.
So initially, a static heel builds clarity in the position, while a dynamic or moving heel builds fluidity and responsiveness and teamwork and pack drive.
Yep. Yeah, because you're walking with your dog.
Right. And Brianna loves to talk about pack drive.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite drives.
So, and we start teaching people, and when we get a dog into our program, one of the first things that we teach them when we go for a walk is not, hey, heel right here next to me. It's just, hey, let's go. Hey, come with me.
Yeah.
We're going together. Because if you don't teach your dog about that pack drive, a lot of times they don't know how to do it because they didn't grow up in a pack of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they initially learn in the litter of dogs is oftentimes forgotten, or at least, gets rusty. And we've got to build that pack drive again because you have to be in the same pack as your dog.
Right. And if they're not in a pack drive, they're in a different drive. And the other drives are not drives that you're looking for on a walk because it's play drive and it's prey drive.
Right.
Neither of those are ones that you kind of want on a walk.
Not going to get the results that you're looking for
Not
in
at all.
those, right? And so good case in point, right? This goes back to that initial concept that I keep saying, and that is you're always going to be more successful telling your dog what to do. So if you're allowing them to pick what kind of drive they're in and what kind of mood they're in and where they want to go and how they want to react, well, you haven't told them what to do. And so how is it fair that you're then telling them, why are you doing that? No. Right? Easy to tell your dog no, not so easy to be congruent about it.
Right.
And we always encourage owners that if you're going to tell your dog no, you've got to be congruent. You have to not only follow that with action, but you've got to tell them what you want them to do, because you can't just run around being like, don't do that and don't do this and don't do that. Because your dog's going to look at you like, well, you're not any fun.
Yeah.
And immediately they're going to want to check out. Why would, if you have a friend who, whenever they come over to your house, they just tell you everything that you do wrong, are you going to invite them over again?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Right. But if your friend's like, hey, you really shouldn't do that, here's the reason why, and it'd be way cooler if you could do this, and like this would really better your life. You might be like, wow, that's a great friend.
Yeah.
Totally different experience.
Yep.
All right.
Back on track.
Right. Back
Yeah.
on track. I told you it's been a really busy week.
Yeah.
A lot of life has happened. Okay. Let me look. So when both a static heel and a dynamic heel are trained correctly, the dog starts to learn how to follow the handler and have confidence in what the handler's asking them to do, which is really the end state of all obedience. We want to build confidence in the dog. And we use obedience not for control. We use obedience to establish confidence.
Yeah.
When your dog understands what you're asking and they understand how to meet your expectations, their confidence goes up. And when their confidence goes up, their anxiety goes down, their aggression goes down, their reactivity goes down.
Yep. Absolutely.
So confidence has to also be met, though, with consistency, right? Their confidence builds as long as you are consistent and congruent in the way that you're asking them to do those things. So at the point where you're haphazard about how you do it or about when you do it, it's going to add confusion.
Yeah. Because if your dog's allowed to like pull at the end of the leash on one walk, but not the next one, then you're not really given a clear message.
Right. And so we have to dial that in.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how we do that. And the first part is we're going to teach the static heel.
Yep.
So this is how we build that blueprint. So a static heel establishes an exact position for the dog to maintain in relation to you. And when, just to get this out of the way, a lot of times that static heel will be in a sit and will be on one of your sides. And owners inevitably ask right off the bat, they're like, well, but isn't this sit? And it is. It is sit. However, you can have the dog sit anywhere.
Yeah.
The heel is a position of the dog in relation to you. Similar to how front would be the dog in a position in relation to you, in front of you.
Right.
You wouldn't tell the dog front and then have them, 6 feet away from you over on the right. That wouldn't make sense to you. And so you wouldn't teach your dog that word. The word, let's cover this too. The word is unimportant. You can use,
Right.
who is it? Tom Davis. Tom Davis uses left and right for his heel positions.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a really cool idea. And
Right,
it
it
works
is,
for his dog. So he'll have his left is a word that he is tied to the meaning he wants his dog to sit on his left side.
Yeah.
And right is he wants his dog to sit on his right side. Ta-da.
Yeah. I like that.
Right. Yeah. Great idea. Traditionally, so let's kind of segue this into traditionally the heel is the word that we use for in that like dog training concept, and heel is traditionally done on the left side. Now, just because it's traditional does not mean that that's what you have to do. But
Right.
left for a few reasons. Two of them that I know, and I'm sure I would love for someone to educate me even further on why that's the traditional one. But I know two reasons. One, most folks are right-handed, and that allows you to heel your dog on your weak side, so quote unquote, so that your strong side is able to do other things. Open doors, shake hands, use your phone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That aside, in competition, a dog is heeled on the left side in traditional types of competition. So,
Mine is because when you're walking on the side of the road, you're supposed to be facing like oncoming traffic when you're walking. And so putting the dog on your left keeps the dog on the side away from traffic.
I didn't even hear that one before.
Oh, really?
I like that one though.
Well, there you go.
Right.
You're welcome.
Just stay out of the way of the cars.
Well, right. But either way, like it
Right.
would make a car nervous
Yeah.
if the dog were on the other side.
Right, because you
Typically.
never know.
Right. You never know. Yeah. It'd be like a kid walking on that side.
Right.
Like you put them on the opposite side.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So if you've got some other ideas or other reasons that you've heard, throw them in the chat. Throw them on a comment on our on the podcast site. Let's go to the next one. So by teaching your dog that position that's in relation to you and is an exact, precise position, we can establish that exact position, that's what the dog should maintain before movement begins. So now you've got a starting point, right? I bring the dog back towards me. I give them heel. They loop around and sit on my left side. Then that leads into the next step, which is dynamic heel. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay, fine.
Let's talk about the rest of static heel. So when I wrote this little blurb here, but it more applies to the dynamic heel. So I'm going to try to put a pin in this and come back to it in a minute.
Yeah.
When we talk about teaching the static heel, let's kind of go through that. So first off, the food or the language that you're going to use when we first teach a heel is almost always food luring.
Yeah.
It's just the easiest to start that process because you want to get your dog to not just hold a position, but also be in an exact position near you. And to do that, this is where that language of food luring really comes into play. I'm going to sneeze. You want to take over on this for a second?
So when we're talking about food luring, it's one of the easiest ways to start because most dogs are going to actively follow you. And when we talk about food luring, we kind of lure the dog back. We flip them around to come up to our left-hand side, and then we will reward them right as they come into that position. A lot of times in like the competition heel and things like that, I know they go with like the magnet feeding to kind of like get them into that position and keep them there. That is a really popular one as well. But most pet dogs, depending on their food drive, you're not going to see a lot of the time really draw into that like the magnet feeding.
Right. You want to explain magnet feeding?
Yeah. So
For
it's
anyone that doesn't know what that is.
it's keeping the dog consistently at and in your hand, basically.
Yep.
So you're at a point where you can constantly kind of like keep the dog on that food lure, to where they're just like attached to it, basically. Some pet dogs will do it every now and then. And typically when they start doing the magnet feeding, that's when you see the dog kind of like start the little like prance, like kind of like a horse, because their head goes up really, really high.
Yeah.
And so they naturally kind of start doing that. We had a pet dog do it in a lesson the other day, and we were like, what in the world? Because it was just like a crazy, like pretty prance. Yeah. But it is something that is hard to accomplish for a lot of pet dogs unless they have a really, really high food drive or you're using like crazy high value, like raw or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So magnet feeding really helps out with that. And so I'm going to break down the initial process real fast. So the process, I'm going to food lure them. I'm going to go left. I'm going to go right. I'm going to make sure I've got forward and backward first with food luring. That's just where I'm holding the food in my hand. I want them to place kind of their muzzle right into my hand, and then I want them to be like magnetically like stuck to it. And so that's where that magnet feeding thing comes from.
Yep.
And so left to right, forward and backward. Those are prerequisite skills in order to build in position into your food luring. Then I bring the dog in a forward drive towards me. And because I'm using that left side as tradition, I'm going to step back with my left foot. So that opens my hips towards the dog. I step back with that left foot and I bring them forward all the way past me. Mm-hmm. And as they drive past me, I'm going to flip my hand around, not so fast that I break contact with the dog, but just enough to change their direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll like
to
U-turn.
give them to a little U-turn.
Yep.
And right as I do that U-turn, I'm going to step back forward with my left foot. My right foot never moves. Mm-hmm. And by doing that, it helps me load the dog with a forward drive, which is their easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Right into that position. And as I step forward and my feet come together, I bring the dog right to my left knee and then bring my hand up. And as I bring it up, their head comes up and their butt sinks down. And ta-da, they're in a heel.
Yep.
Maybe.
Right. You made it sound a lot easier.
I know. It sounds
it's super
simple.
awkward to get them into that position the first time. Every
Right.
owner that does it is like, oh, this is weird. And it is weird to start off with, but I promise you it transitions really quickly and you can move past it.
Yeah.
If your dog is like, oh, okay, this is fine.
Yeah. And so we use leash pressure as a second language, and we'll start to teach the dog to respond to that leash pressure so we don't have to just food lure them. But I'm going to do the same footwork. So with the leash pressure, it's the same thing. I'm going to bring them towards me with that forward drive and the dog. I'm going to step back with my left foot. I'm going to bring them with pressure past me, just barely past me. And then I'm going to step forward, and the dog kind of naturally is going to do that 180 because they're going to follow your body language after you pattern this with food. And now I just continue that pressure to guide them around that 180. I step forward with my left foot back to my right, and then bring pressure up into that sit.
Yep.
Right there on my left side.
Yeah. And we're working with a static heel before we get to dynamic because it's much easier to teach your dog where that position is before you're moving,
Yes.
right? Everybody wants
Too
to
many
kind of...
variables.
Right.
As soon as you
Way
start
too
moving.
many.
Right.
And so you're going to start by teaching the position, and then it slowly builds, right, into 1 step, 2 step, 3 step.
Yeah. So another thing that you can do in order to teach the heel, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but it's an option, is to teach your dog to stand on a spot.
Yeah.
So I use like a horse water, little water bowl.
Yeah.
At like, you can get them at like Tractor Supply and
Petco.
Petco's got it in Surf City. They've got like a whole horse section.
Yeah.
Or if you have a really big dog bowl.
Yeah.
Flip it upside down and then teach your dog to stand on it, right? We can free shape that. We can lure that. We can reward that through a whole bunch of other things. I'm not going to go all the way into that. But basically, pattern and teach your dog to stand on that spot. Then you just walk up and take that position next to them. Mm-hmm. And you teach that over and over until the dog's used to that being like normal.
Yeah.
Then you can build in turns right there and a bunch of other things. That's how you teach a real strict heel, and you teach the dog to kind of like move sideways left and right with you.
Yeah.
It can turn into something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Robert Cabral uses, he taught his dog to just stand on a brick, right? Just like a brick on its side.
Yeah.
And so that's literally his word.
With just his front legs.
And so he would just, with his old dog, Goofy,
Yeah.
and be like, Goofy, brick, where's your brick? And,
Oh my gosh.
and he'd be like, right here. And then he'd do the little like turns and all that. So, right.
my
Once again,
goodness.
the word that you use is not important.
Right. And I've used, I think I saw this one with Tom Davis one time, but he uses, and I tried it once with one dog, a piece of cardboard, I think, or somebody does. I've seen somebody use it and I tried it. I've also used like a rug or some like a little piece of carpeting on a hardwood floor.
Yeah, like a little carpet square.
Yeah. I've also used, there was something else that I've used. I don't remember now though. I don't know. It left me. I have
No problem.
idea.
So we're going to reward our alignment really heavily early on. So alignment is going to be whether the dog is like too far forward or too far back. We want to encourage the dog not to forge ahead of us. And so we start that with the static heel. And when the dog lines up with that left leg, we keep them in that line and we reward right there. So your placement for your reward is really important. If you reward the dog like from your right hand over to the left, you can do that. I typically do that, and a lot of trainers will kind of shy away from that. They don't like that. I don't know why I do it. It's not even really the best technique, but it works for me.
Yeah, I try.
But
not
I
to do
have
that.
to really reach far. You can't be sloppy about your reach because otherwise you'll lure the dog like forward and across you.
Yeah.
And so you really have to like overreach with that right hand. I don't know why it works for me. It does. But it works better and I'll transfer that over. That's really mostly just for that static heel.
Yeah.
As soon as I start a dynamic heel, I'll transfer that food over for that magnet feeding of the left hand on the left side.
Right. I just keep it on my left side even when I'm doing static because I will just put my hand flat and I'll even just like run it all the way down my leg, but I feed like right against my leg.
Yeah.
So
And that's more traditional.
yeah, and that way the dog doesn't get too far ahead or too far behind, and like that's where you feed every time is like right against your leg.
Yeah, definitely. The if you're using leash pressure, we want to make it light. We want to make this fun. It's a game, right? We just want to encourage the dog to like move into that position. So we're not correcting the dog left, right, forward, backward. We're just using a little leash pressure, but mostly use those food targets. Guide the dog without encouraging that foraging. Excuse me.
Foraging.
We're not foraging for food. We're foraging without the dog forging ahead of you. Then we encourage you guys to build, or all owners, to build a static heel position before the dynamic. Bree already talked about that a little bit, but just to reiterate, start still. It's going to help you a lot. You've got to build some consistency and some clarity in the position of that heel before you start moving. I feel like there's probably trainers out there that are way better than me that are like, oh yeah, you can just do it like this. Cool. Leave us a comment. I'm always down to learn better and more efficient methods. But from my perspective and from my experience, that static heel is going to be much easier to teach right off the bat.
Yeah.
All right. First question. Why does heel position fall apart when handlers skip a static heel?
Right. You already answered this one.
No.
didn't you?
I talked about all the variables. Why does it fall apart?
Because you can't pinpoint the exact mark when you're moving. Like when you're in movement.
I would also say that the dog doesn't know what to focus on yet.
Right.
Right. And so
Yeah.
this is a generalization concept. When the dog hears you say heel, let me try to rephrase this. So when the dog hears you say heel, it's focused on something. You might think that it is your words, but most likely, especially the first time, it's probably not. It could be something that's going on in the background. It could be something that they're looking at. It could be a noise, a smell, something that you're not even perceiving. So if I'm moving at the same time as I'm trying to teach a position that is specific to the proximity, like to you, you are like trying to get up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not going to work out. There's too many distractions. There's too many variables, and you can't control for all of them.
Yep.
So you've got to pattern this static,
Yeah.
still, and quiet without distraction. That's why. You can't.
What?
When you look at me and you're just like, you already said that. You already answered that. But not that specifically.
Right. Not that specifically. You're right.
Okay. Dynamic heel. So now we turn this position into a motion-based activity.
Yeah.
And dynamic heel takes that precision of the static position and then it carries it into motion. And then we can start using rhythm and engagement and excitement and fun because dogs love to move and they love to follow and prance around and do things, right? So movement also dissipates stress in dogs. So we want to use that movement to our advantage when appropriate. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to start with just like 1 to 2 steps. The way that I do it is I start, this is after I've patterned and proofed and made sure that the dog understands that heel position. Now they will go to heel when I say heel and I don't move, and they will like get into that position. Now I go, good, heel, good, heel. And on that second one, so on the first one, I stand still. I give them a continuation marker. And on the second one, I give them heel as my hand comes down with a little food in it, and I step forward with my left foot. And as I do that and I say heel, right, we're starting to build movement. This is like the one command that we can move and give in some sort of fashion that like actually builds some predictability in it.
Yeah.
But heel and kind of lure them forward as I'm patterning that word. And then I stop and I reward. And heel, left foot again. Heel, left foot again. Heel, left foot, right foot. Left foot, right foot, heel. Right? And I'm just slowly building extra steps.
Yeah. And this is like inside, back and forth, up and down like a hallway. It's perfect.
Hallways are great because the dog can't go too far left, right.
Yep.
It just kind of focuses the dog like blinders on a horse. Yeah, super helpful.
Yeah.
Inside, no distractions. We're just working on the movement and patterning the command. We continue that until we can get 6 or 7 steps. Then we can start building in like movements to heel on the move. So I'll have a dog in a down, and then I'll give them heel and I'll walk 2 steps and then get them to pop up and walk with me. So they start changing positions and working with that heel. This is still before I'm going outside. This is still before I'm increasing distraction.
Yep.
All I'm doing is changing the stimulus. Okay, let's go over some other things that will help you. So as you build, right now we're talking about just the first like 5 or 6 steps. Now, as we get longer and longer and we can walk all the way across the room in a heel, now what we can start doing is we can actually reward on the way with our continuation marker.
Yep.
And so we use yes as a continuation marker. So what that would look like is I'm going to mark yes when the dog maintains that position, not just through the first step, but through a couple of steps, maybe 2 or 3 steps. And then I'm, yes, giving him a treat. On the move, still in that heel position. 2 or 3 more steps, yes, giving him another treat. Okay.
Yep.
I talked about the continuation marker. I want to change paces, right? I want to go a little faster. I want to go a little slower. I want to start making slight turns, not left turns, right turns, but I want to start making curves. Curve right, curve left. I want to stop, and I want to reinforce that position in all of those using the continuation marker. Now, by the time I get to the other side of the room, that's when I want to use a terminal marker. We use free, and toss that treat to reset the dog. Back into heel, they get there, yes, that's a continuation marker, and then we go back into our heel. 2 or 3 steps, yes. All right, now let's talk, if you're not confused yet.
Right.
Right. Do you want to be a dog trainer? Or sorry, no, the meme is, so you want to be a dog trainer.
Right.
So now let's talk about another concept here, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but if you have the here's 2 things to cut to the chase. 1, whether or not you train your dog to be an exact heel, what I want you to remember is that your dog having a job is directly related to how good your dog is going to engage to you on your walk. That's what I want you to focus on if you're totally lost. And if you're only partially lost, just rewind this, listen to the recording, rewind it, and listen to it again. I think it'll make sense. And if it doesn't, reach out.
Yeah.
Give me a phone call, send me a text. We'll break it down for you more. Okay. Now, we want to reward intermittently. Like, if you're at home and you're listening, just take a drink or take a deep breath. This one's going to blow your mind, but it's so useful. It's so important. Okay. Rewarding intermittently. There's a couple ways that we can do it, right? Everyone understands, oh yeah, I want to reward my dog intermittently, and I want to like build more and more time in between so that my dog will like listen to me more and I'll have to give him less treats. Everybody wants that. Everyone's like, when do I wean off the treats? Okay, here's my take on it. You don't wean off the treats. What we do is we incorporate variable ratios. And a variable ratio, as soon as
Now
you
we're
start,
in math
right
class.
now we're in math class. Okay, there are 4
4 quadrants.
No, we're not going down that road. So there's 4 ways that we can intermittently reward our dogs.
Yeah.
We can do a fixed interval. We can do a variable interval. We can do a fixed ratio, and we can do a variable ratio. Bear with me on the science here. We're going to geek out for just a second. I got time. It's only 39 minutes. So with a fixed interval, what we're talking about is a reward every 3 steps. That's a fixed interval, right? For a certain amount of time or a certain like progress. A variable interval would be I reward them on 1 step here, and then 3 steps, and then 5 steps, and then 3 steps, and then 1 step.
Yep.
Okay. A fixed ratio would be every 2 repetitions of this, whatever it is, sit down, heel in this case. After 2 successful repetitions, I reward them. After 2 more successful repetitions, I reward them. Well, here, the science is very, very clear that the number one way the number one technique is variable ratio. Variable ratio is the science behind why casinos are so addicting to humans. Right? When you pull the slot machine lever, the variable ratio of the win to loss is so important and so dialed in that it literally becomes a drug to you. Because sometimes, basically, it's just like, we just don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to get rewarded at just enough to make me hungry to pull the lever again.
That's crazy because I went to a casino one time and I pulled one lever and I didn't win anything. And I was like, yeah, that's it for me.
Right. But
I was like, I don't know why people like
good
this.
job. Good job. Never go back.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, it took my dollar.
The thing is that the dogs are the same way. So if I reward them on a variable ratio, it will build an incredible amount of drive in that dog to perform again. And this is the advanced concept that I've rarely get into with owners. But when we train a dog to do something easy, right? We train a dog to sit. Super simple. Dog sits. Not hard for the dog to do. Mammals in general, the science says that mammals in general need about a 15 to 20% failure rate for them to stay engaged with a drive to succeed. Or else, this is all mammals across the board. So what that means is if you reward your dog, and we're not talking about in the early stages of training, but we're talking about advanced, right? Where this is what I do with Nala. If I reward her every single time that she does the right sit, she will start to tune that out and be like, this isn't even that important. But if I make the sit harder and harder for her to nail down, right, by increasing the speed at which I make her sit, going from activity to activity, so that sometimes about 15% of the time she fails because I've raised the threshold or I've raised the level of difficulty, her drive increases and her obedience or her desire for that obedience goes up. It's crazy. All right, that's our science lesson for the day. All right, one, use variable ratios for your training. It's addictive. Number two, you eventually, when you get to the advanced stages, you want to raise the threshold for compliance or for success high enough that your dog fails somewhere in that 15% range. Not often, but maybe like 1 out of 6. And if you can do that, you will increase their desire and their drive for those other 5 repetitions out of those 6. Yep. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. So we talked about the intervals and the ratios. How do we balance precision and enthusiasm? So I alluded to that with the ratios, right? We can increase. I got so excited I didn't even read the whole question. I'm sure someone's like, what in the heck is he saying? The question is, how do you balance precision with enthusiasm during dynamic heel work? All right, to answer that question, we balance the precision of the success of it and the enthusiasm of the dog being motivated to do it by, one, allowing the dog to succeed. So we don't want to increase the difficulty so fast that the dog fails right off the bat. That decreases confidence. We want them to succeed, and we want them to succeed at that 100% level in the first phase of training. Later, more advanced, that's when we get into that 15% failure ratio. Aside from that, don't be so exact that you require this exact precision that the dog can't even meet it at the beginning. We typically encourage owners to use a range on the dog from like the base of the neck to the base of the tail. And if the dog anywhere in that line is on your left side, like your left leg, that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that for two reasons. One, because most pet owners don't care if their dog does a competition heel.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, this allows their dog to have a little bit of like breathing room,
Yeah.
so that they can be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want to tilt the scales in favor of our dog succeeding.
Yep.
All right. What drills help the dog maintain heel position through turns and transitions?
Figure eights, doing left turns, right turns, like practicing your turns.
Yep. Inside turns.
Yeah. Inside and outside.
Yep. So inside turns help the dog,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, more than the outside turns.
Yeah.
In a strict heel.
Yeah.
And an inside turn is where the dog is on the inside. You're turning and the
Towards the dog.
Correct.
Yeah.
Towards the dog, into the dog. So the dog's staying on the inside. That is great at limiting forging and keeping that dog in that position.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, the dog actually has to slow down
Mm-hmm.
in order to stay in that position. So that's really helpful. Now, if you do an outside turn where the dog is on the outside of you, they have to accelerate as you just do that 180.
Yeah.
And so they're both useful,
Mm-hmm.
but that inside turn is really, really helpful for that dynamic heel and incorporating those turns and transitions. How can handlers avoid relying too much on food and luring during their heel work?
Just using your non-treatable markers more, especially once they develop like the position and everything like that. Usually once the dog has it and I'm like on a legitimate walk, like I kind of phase food out pretty quickly because
Yeah.
I don't have time to like stop and reward like when I'm on a legitimate walk.
Right. So when you're working in the house, that's a great time to use those treats and those rewards. But when we go outside, food is a stimulant.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to kind of tune that out a little bit and start using, and that's why it's so important to teach your dog about leash pressure and what it means. So that way, when we're on that heel, on that walk, we can use the leash pressure in order to do that instead of food.
Yep.
Okay. Last point. Why does this all matter? So we're going to kind of summarize this just in the essence of time, but the why this matters is because this is the job that your dog needs.
Mm-hmm.
Some dogs, if your dog, let me recase this. So if your dog is not reactive on a walk, your dog listens to you anytime you say come and anytime that you're, like sit or off, you don't have any behavior issues, and you don't care where the dog walks as long as they don't pull on the leash, then you might not need a heel. You might not even need to teach the heel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? If you're happy with the dog's behavior and you're happy with all of these things, then maybe that's not for you. Doesn't matter. However, it's super, super helpful for the dogs that have reactivity. Super, super helpful for the dogs that need a job or need something to do. So they're not just thinking about, I'm going to blow up at that dog. I'm going to blow up at that dog. Look at that dog over there. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to give the dog something to do instead. And a heel is great because typically what I see owners do is go, all right, come here, sit. And remember that movement dissipates stress.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can teach the dog a job to do that is on the move, you're going to have the least amount of stress. You're dissipating the most amount of stress. You're giving the dog something to do and something to concentrate on. And the last piece is that you're probably building distance because you're moving. you're probably moving away from that thing. So you're probably starting to incorporate some distance away from the reactive thing,
Yep.
right? The thing that they're reacting to.
Yeah.
That is the gold standard to fixing reactivity in dogs. Those three things. So heel works really, really well for that. If you just put your dog into a sit or a down, that can be useful. But unfortunately, they're stuck in a static position at that point. The other dog that they're already not happy about being in proximity to still gets to run around and walk around and maybe even close distance towards them. And that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely.
The dog's like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. All right. Let me look at my notes here. So mastering both a static heel and a dynamic heel allow you to do both things. A static heel can really come into play when you go out in public, when you're at a brewery or you're at a store, or you're at some sort of pet-friendly place, and you don't just want your dog to come to you, look at you, and then check out. You want your dog to come over here and like sit by you. A heel or a static heel is a great, great choice for that.
Yep.
To get your dog in close. And then a dynamic heel is a great opportunity to give your dog a job to do as you're moving. Maybe you're going to the bathroom. Maybe you're going to the up to the bar to order a drink. And you want your dog to be right there with you. Heel's where it's at.
Yeah.
All right. How do you explain to owners that heel? And I know we answer, honestly, well, this is what I love about this, is that we basically answer these questions as we're going. But to recap, why is heel so important? More so than just leash walking, right? When an owner's like, but my dog walks on a loose leash, why might we still want to teach them heel?
Because it's teaching where the dog is in reference to you. It's
Right.
teaching the dog to be next to you on your side. It's not all about the walking.
And I would also say that a focused heel in a specific position is something the dog has to constantly kind of like focus in on.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more brain power, a lot more effort on the dog side than just don't pull on the leash.
Yeah.
So that can really come in handy for all the reasons that we talked about. What signs show that the dog's ready for more advanced heel patterns? I'd say at the point where they're demonstrating consistency and precision.
Yeah.
So at the point where your dog moves into position on your verbal only command,
Yep.
that's when I do that.
Yeah.
Which means that I'm not just stepping back with my left foot, letting them load into that left side and then stepping forward. I'm not coaching them and cueing them. I'm now just going heel, command.
Yep.
And they're doing it. Last one, how does static and dynamic heel training prevent long-term sloppiness?
Because if you're not telling your dog what to do on a walk or where to be on a walk, they're eventually going to just decide, and it's always going to be the furthest point
That's it.
on the end of the leash.
And when a dog decides where to walk, how to walk, what speed to walk,
Yeah.
you are now on their walk. This, if you tuned out for all of the science in this lesson, no problem. But wake up right now, because whether your dog is reactive or not, utilizing small, I guess, snippets of, there's a better word for it, small intervals of heel work on a walk is an awesome opportunity for you to be the leader on that walk.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go, hey, I do this with Dexter all the time. Cool. We're in a heel for about a minute. And now you're just with me.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're on a loose leash walk. But you can kind of move forward and backward and side to side. Just don't pull on the leash. And now we're on a heel. And now we're on a break. Go ahead and go sniff. Now we're on a heel. Now we're just be with me. Now we're back on a loose leash walk. By rotating through those, it gives you an opportunity for you to constantly be guiding your dog and patterning smart, appropriate leadership
Mm-hmm.
on the walk.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox for the day.
Right. Because if you guys are just like walking out your front door and your dog's not paying any attention to you and you're not paying any attention to your dog, then.
Right. If you treat the walk as a chore, as we have to do this for your exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I promise you, right. Yeah. Just don't go, because I promise you can exercise your dog in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go for a walk. And the amount of exercise your dog, the amount of not just physical exercise, but the amount of mental stimulation that your dog is getting on a walk that most owners go on, where they don't come back sweating profusely,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably not really burning that many calories for that dog, and you're probably not really stimulating them as much as if you set up a little sniffari in the house,
Yeah.
or you played hide and seek, or you played tug, or you played fetch, or you played 100 other games.
Yep.
So that's what we got for you tonight. All right. At this point, we are going to, before I go into listener projects, I'm going to turn on the sound feed here. And if you are listening in either in Zoom or on the phone call, now is your time to shine, your time to ask questions. I don't have any questions in the chat. Yep. Nope. Don't have any questions in the chat. So I'm going to play the Jeopardy music for a second. Jump in if you've got a question. Ready, set, go. No questions tonight. That's because I put everyone to sleep with the science.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, though. I think those are really, really important, that if you understand the why behind it,
Yeah.
you can be so much more precise
yeah.
in your training and your relationship with your dog.
Absolutely.
All right. So I will hit listener projects here. Number 1, static alignment drill. What we're going to do is we're going to practice loading the dog into that heel position. We're going to do it 10 times. So we're going to use our food, or if your dog already knows light leash pressure, you can use that. We're going to step back with the left foot. We're going to bring the dog into a forward drive. 180 the dog on your left side. Step forward with your left foot, both feet back together. Your right foot never moves. And as the dog comes back onto that left side, mark the alignment with your left foot. And as their shoulder crosses that line with a yes, that's our continuation marker. And when the dog lines up correctly with that leg. All right, keep your sessions short and maintain precision, but also maintain enthusiasm. This is a game to your dog. Training is supposed to be fun. Make it fun. Make it engaging. And if your dog's checked out from it, then you're probably boring. Just calling it what it is. Up the excitement level. Get more exciting. Get more fun. And your dog will want to do it with you. All right, listener project number 2. We're going to do the dynamic heel. Right. So once we've nailed down that static heel, we're we're going to work up to 5 steps. All right. One step at a time. We're going to mark with our continuation marker as we get going, because we don't want to just mark with our terminal marker. If we mark with a terminal marker, your dog's going to check out because it's like, cool, I'm done. Remember that. Use your continuation marker and mark as you go with the goal of getting about 5 steps. All right. Mark yes as your dog stays aligned while moving. Stop after that 5 steps and then give them your terminal marker, for us, free, and toss that treat to make the dog move and break that heel. Then you can reset your dog. All right. So that is all I've got. Last chance for questions. As we kind of start to close this down, just interrupt me and we'll answer them. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Let me turn that down before I blow everybody's eardrums out. So we are always trying to make this better, right? And so this is my message to everybody. Please send us a message. Share this with your friends and family. Let us know how we can do better, right? If you think that we're deserving of it, give us a little 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or however it is that you're listening to this. If for no other reason, then it improves the ratings. It makes us a little more visible, and someone else can maybe they can find some benefit in it. All right, it's supposed to be a free resource out there for people to listen in and learn something about their dogs. I can't think of anything else, so we'll close it out for tonight. Thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, good night.